Sidewalk University, in the early 70s when I attended Emerson Elementary School, there was a teacher there by the name of Dr. Green. He also worked as an athletic trainer at Compton College. Dr. Green saw that I was a straight A student, so when I was about 9 years old, he invited me to a Compton College football game to be a ball boy. My job was running fresh balls in from the sidelines. Dr. Green also worked with the basketball and baseball teams, so when their season started, I started working with both of those teams as well. Working with the sports teams at Compton College gave me the opportunity to travel throughout the state of California: Ventura, Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and Fresno. We even went to Hawaii one year. Dr. Green eventually retired, but I continued to go to the college and became the team manager for the football, basketball, and baseball teams. When I was in 10th grade, I participated in UCLA's Upward Bound program that was designed to help students graduate from high school and successfully graduate from college. I was one of their top students. We would stay at UCLA for 9 weeks during the summer and spend random weekends there. During the year, as part of the summer program, they would give us a $285 weekly stipend every Friday. The problem was when I would go back home to Compton. During the summer, some of the guys I grew up with had gotten involved in the drug game and were making more than $285 per day. As good as UCLA's Upward Bound program was, it wasn't moving fast enough for me. So I decided to get rolling myself. After 7 years of working at Compton College, first as a ball boy, then as team manager, finally got the lucky break I needed to get into the game, the drug game that is. One of my older brothers had already been selling ounces of weed to one of the Compton College baseball coaches named John. I used to deliver the weed to Coach John for my brother, which was definitely not an official part of my managerial duties. One day John stopped me and said, "Yo, tell your brother I need an ounce," and he handed me $60, the price for an ounce of weed back then. The next day, I showed up at John's office with the package. "Here you go," and I handed him a rolled up brown paper bag. "It's a pleasure doing business with you," I said as I turned to walk out. "Hey, wait a minute, come back in here and close the door," John shouted. He then opened his desk drawer and pulled out a big plastic bag which contained 4 ounces of powder cocaine. "Hey, big dog, see if y'all can sell this shit." Coach John handed me the bag, and I guess he assumed I would take it home to my brother. Unlike today where an ounce of powder cocaine is the size of a stamp, back then powder cocaine was $2,800 an ounce and would fill a sandwich bag. That shit never made it home. I flipped all 4 ounces in one night. A few of the big homies, my brother-in-law from Grape Street, my homeboy Junior, and one of my brothers each bought an ounce from me that night. I was 16 years old and ready to seize my opportunity to get in the drug game and start ballin' like Kobe, a champ. VVV. My business started flourishing, and I began to move more and more product. By 1981 or 82, I had opened up a few crack houses in the neighborhood. One morning at about 5 o'clock, my older brother called me. "Hey bro, I'm out of shit. I need some more." Sent some over to my spot on Glencoe, which was just a few blocks away from a crack house I had on the corner of Greenleaf and Mayo. I left some with nephew around the corner. First told him, "Nephew ain't got no more. I'll be over there in a minute to bring you some." First pulled up to a spot on Glencoe, and my brother sent this chick out. "Come get this shit yourself," I hollered out. No sooner than those words came out of my mouth in my rearview mirror, I saw the sheriffs hit the corner. 2 sheriffs in particular, Ramos and Bauer, were some crazy gung-ho motherfuckers. I was in an IROC Camaro, so I took off and left their ass in smoke. I thought I got away, but little did I know they continued looking for me. I hit the corner of Greenleaf and went to Mayo, my little corner spot where my nephew was. As First pulled up to the spot, First could hear the powerful motor of the sheriff's car speeding up Greenleaf, but I still had the kilos on me. I rushed up to the door of the house and began banging on the door. "Open the door, nephew." Nephew didn't open the door. As fast as I could, I pulled the house keys out of my pocket and opened the door. By then, the sheriffs were out of their car and pointing their weapons at me. "Freeze, motherfucker." I hurried and got my ass inside the house and locked the inside wooden door, but I forgot and left 36, the keys in the outer bar door. Instead of running to the restroom and getting rid of the dope, I panicked and ran to the closet, still carrying the dope and a gun. Within a minute, at least 8 sheriff's cars pulled up. They kicked the door in and raided the house. They got my nephew, my homeboy, and his wife. They already had them handcuffed on the porch when they brought me out of the house. One of the sheriffs asked me, "What's your name?" "Ken, motherfucker, we know who you are." "My name is Ken." "That's your story." Clearly irritated. Yeah, they took me to jail, and I bailed out. About 3 weeks later, I was going into the neighborhood to take this lady named Linda her daily 4 ounces to sell for me. Them same motherfuckers, Ramos and Bauer, came up behind me, pulled it over. They got out of their car and approached. "You selling that dope tonight?" "Sir, no." Unconvinced, they pulled me out of the car and had me sit on the curb while they searched and found the 4 ounces I had in the car. Booked that fucker on the highest bail possible. My friends Ramos and Bauer gave me back-to-back cases real fast. I had already done the shooting I described earlier, so they combined the 3 cases and sentenced me to 4 years in the state pen. I was 20 years old. BBV. From served 1989. I served time in the same motherfucking prisons I used to visit as a kid from 1965-1976, when one of my uncles was serving his bid for murder. Before sending me to state prison, I was sent to Wayside Max, which is a part of the LA County jail system. While in Wayside, a riot popped off between Crips and some black Cubans who had been exiled by Fidel Castro during the Mariel boat lift when Castro emptied his jails. Ronald Reagan rounded most of the exiles up and put them back in jail. It was easy to tell if someone had been to prison in Cuba because Castro had inmates' identification numbers tattooed on the inside of their lips, In America, inmates get a card with their inmate identification number on it, but Castro put the inmate number in their mouth. One day, when a group of Crips was in the chow hall eating, a situation broke out with one of the Cuban inmates. The Cuban inmate asked this dude named Small Fry, who was from Tragnew Park, to pass him the pitcher of Kool-Aid. Small Fry took his sweet time with the pitcher and asked all the Crips at the table, "Y'all want some more Kool-Aid, cuz?" "Yeah, let me get some more, cuz." 38, "Pass that shit over. Here when you're done, homie." We passed the pitcher around, and by the time it finally got to the Cuban, the shit was empty. The Cuban took the Kool-Aid pitcher, stood up, and hit Small Fry in the back of the head with it. Tracy was a super big Crip place. There were 3,000 inmates, and 1,800 of them were Crips, hardcore, gangbangers, the white boys, Mexicans, Cubans, all of them are Raw and Tracy. When we got back to the housing unit, we had a little meeting. "Hey homie, what y'all want to do?" Homeboy Small Fry was from Compton, so we had to do something. The decision was made that we had to make a move. I got my shank and went to work. I hit 3 of them, hit him good too. The police came in the unit shooting tear gas. "Move, move, move, move. Ground, get on the ground." One by one, the police handcuffed and removed anyone, injured or not, that had blood on them. We were all lying on the ground, and the big Cuban that I stuck, the biggest one, came running towards me hollering, "Motherfucker. Motherfucker." He tried to get at me, but the sheriff tackled his ass before he could reach me. I ended up getting put in the hole for that shit. They were about to charge me with another case, but luckily they didn't. While I was in Wayside, the Crips also had a riot against the sheriffs. The sheriffs were the baddest. 39 motherfuckers in there. They beat up so many Crips it was pathetic. It just so happened that I wasn't in the module set aside only for Crips, the 4,800 module, when the riot happened. They had me stuck in the hole for 64 days from that Cuban shit. 64 days is a long time to be in the county jail hole. When I got out of the hole and saw the homies Mondo and Sad from Nutty Block, both of them told me, "Man, we had a riot with the sheriffs." After Wayside, they sent me to Chino West for 2 months. Then the counselor at Chino told me, "You're going to CIM or CMC." Every Friday they would post on the board where you were going, and next to my name it read, Tracy. I was practically still a kid heading up to Tracy. Tracy is fucking gladiator school. The 4,800 Wayside was a dangerous place with all them Crips in there. But Tracy was a super big Crip place. There were 3,000 inmates, and 1,800 of them were Crips, hardcore gangbangers. The white boys, Mexicans, Cubans, all of them are Raw and Tracy. In those days, Tracy was so dangerous a blood would get their ass thrown over the tier because Crips ran into the whole place. They had some vicious guys up in there that would rape your ass. One nigga named Big LA, they had to cut the top bunk out of his cell because he was assaulting so many people. My time in Tracy didn't help to rehabilitate me, 40, at all. On the contrary, my time in Tracy helped me to become a harder gangster. When you're a youngster up in the pen, between the ages of 19 and 21, you're on the front line. The homies send your ass on seek and destroy missions like a torpedo to earn your stripes. I had been selling dope before I got sent up to Tracy, so I was one of the more well-off inmates in there. And it's safe to say I earned a few stripes and made it up out of there with no scars. My next move would be to take what I had learned in gladiator school and step my game up to the next level.